I'd like to introduce the new general manager of the Las Vegas Raiders.
And we are very, very excited to be joined by the new general manager for the Las Vegas Raiders, Dave Ziegler. And Dave, congratulations. I imagine the past 72, 96 hours have been pretty incredible. But as we sit here right now, like, how are you feeling? How has everything kind of been going for you as of late?
Yeah, just excited. I think that's the word that comes to mind. I think the one to reach. We all have goals within our own careers, and this was one of my goals, is to be a GM of an NFL franchise, and then combine that with the fact that it's the Raiders, and a historical franchise, and just all the history of the Raiders made it even more exciting. And then the fact that it's in Las Vegas, which is a new market, new facilities. It was just, I get goosebumps thinking about it. It's exciting, and it's hectic, and there's a level of stress involved with it, like all those natural emotions. But at the end of the day, just excited to get to work.
Yeah, there's certainly a mutual interest, right, in us and you and making this partnership work. But I'm curious, at what point in the process did you really say, like, okay, this is a place I want to be, but this is also a place I really can see myself, for the foreseeable future?
Really, as soon as the interview was over, I had a feeling, like, for me personally, and obviously I still had to talk to my wife and things of that nature, but me personally, when the interview was over, I really felt like a connection with Mark. I really felt, with Dan Ventrelli, Tom Delaney, just that there was a lot of good people in the room, and Mark's vision and his commitment to winning, and then like you mentioned, the facilities and things like that, and combining that all together. When the interview was over, I knew, for me personally, like, this is something that I wanted to do, and this is a place where I wanted to be.
When you and Josh were speaking earlier, one thing that I wrote down in hearing you talk, in big letters I wrote, he understands the importance of leading people, of relating to people. We talked about your background as a guidance counselor, as a teacher, all those types of things. When you look at those experiences, how have those helped you get to a place of being where you are right now, but also understanding, like, this is a people business?
Yeah, I've had some unique experiences of, like you mentioned, being in the classroom and being a guidance counselor, and being an educator is one of the hardest jobs that there is. That bell rings and you're on, and you have to relate to 20 to 30 different personalities and different learning styles, and people that come from different backgrounds and different socioeconomic backgrounds, and different heritages and things like that. And it's your job to connect. And I took that very seriously. And so, taking that from the classroom, and then as a guidance counselor, you have to do those same things, but then you also have to deal with helping solve real world problems. And I saw a lot of real world problems, and I worked through those with a lot of kids and a lot of families. And I think you take that into the NFL, and I think it correlates in a lot of ways. One, it correlates just with your staff, and making connections, making people feel their self-worth and value, investing in the growth of people. Like, that's kind of just part of my DNA from being a classroom teacher and to being a counselor. Then I think it also goes into, right, there's an element when you're scouting, there's an element of getting to know players. And making sure players are good fits for your organization. And I think my experiences as a counselor and as a teacher, and dealing with people from a lot of different backgrounds with a lot of different issues, gives me some insight to different personality types. And I think it helps in my evaluation of the people that we want to bring in and really what they're about.
You said earlier that it's not necessarily a prerequisite to have a relationship, a working relationship, coming into a situation with a head coach or GM, between GM and head coach, I should say. But obviously you and Josh come in this very unique, exciting situation where you come in together. How valuable is that, one, and why was that important for you as you kind of embarked on this next chapter for the both of you?
Sure. It's valuable because I think when you get into these situations, there's already a lot of things that you have to take on when you're the head coach of an NFL team or you're a GM of an NFL team. And I think for us to be able to take out the part of learning each other, both as people, but then also learning the scouting system, the vernacular, how you grade players, how you look at players, how players fit onto your team. Like, we've already been through all of that. We've done it in real time, and we've lived it in real life situations. And so those things are really highly valuable to hit the ground running.
Someone asked you earlier today about, one of the best lesson you learned from Bill Belichick, and I think you guys gave great answers saying, hey, look, that's a very long list. He's one of the greatest coaches in really all professional sports. But one thing that you talked about was Bill's constant evaluation of constantly figuring out a way to, how can we get better from week 7 to week 8? How can we constantly tweak? How is that something that you're going to implement kind of in this post with this organization in 2022?
Yeah, really for us, like every single process that we have here, whether it's how we pick up players from the airport, how we conduct workouts, how we do our free agency meetings, how we do our draft meetings, how we run our draft room, how we do our advanced scouting processes, like every single thing that we do, whether it's small or big, those are things that we are going to evaluate at the end of each process to, figure out what went well, what didn't go well, what do we need to improve. And I think just when you live in that mindset, you avoid stagnation and you constantly are looking inward to figure out ways that you can do things better. And a lot of those things come from the people that are at on the ground floor and at the grassroots level, your area scouts, your pro scouts, your scouting assistants. Like those often are the people that have the best ideas and have the best ideas of how to improve things because they're living it. And so I think it creates buy-in when you have that mindset, and I think it really spurs a lot of growth.
I told you I was going to ask you about these facilities, right? The brand new, beautiful Allegiant Stadium, right off the strip there. This fantastic building that we're lucky enough to call home, 7 days a week throughout the regular season. How invaluable is it, and how important is it to have state-of-the-art facilities like these to put the players in a position to succeed, to have them in a place where they're comfortable and they understand this is the standard. If this is what the weight room look like, if this is what the studio and the meeting space look like, the standard is excellence.
Sure. When you demand things from people, and there's a lot of demands on players, and the program that what Josh believes in, it takes a lot of hard work, it takes a lot of dedication, and it is difficult. So I think when you're going to ask a lot, you have to give a lot. And Mark set up a program, here with the facilities and what's available to these players to allow them to become the best players that they can be, whether it's in the training room, whether it's in the weight room, whether it's in the rehab room and things like that nature. Like they have all the things available to them to allow them to become the best versions of themselves. And it's a lot easier to be demanding when you're giving a lot at the same time, and Mark's created that culture here.
Congratulations, a very exciting day for you, an exciting day for this organization, and we can't wait to see what you have cooking.
Yeah, thanks for having me.